going on, dudes and dudettes? So a lot of guys in the high school ranks recently put USC in a bunch of top 10 lists or visiting lists and all that stuff. So I want to get into at least updating you all on some of those guys. A lot of really talented guys in the next class or two. So let's get into it real quick. So the first guy we'll talk about is the 4-star California 2025 running back Carson Cox. Has a March 23rd unofficial visit, so I'm sure he'll be back officially at some point, hopefully. Then a 2025 4-star linebacker Christian Gass has a June 7th visit. The 2025 4-star wide receiver Kelshawn Johnson has a June 21st visit set up as well. So yes, a lot of these guys visiting during the summer. I know I mentioned before that I think it was like May or something that where a lot of the guys came and all that stuff, but I think it was really like a little bit later than that, and a lot of guys did commit last couple years around June and stuff, so maybe we might have some momentum going in with a lot of these guys after their visits. You never know, but we'll see. So yes, let's get into the guys who put at least USC in their top 10 or 12 list, whatever it is, or their final list. I don't know what they're calling them nowadays, but yes, USC made the cut for a lot of these very talented players. We'll start off with the 4-star linebacker Elijah Bo Barnes. Put them in his top 10. 4-star wide receiver Emmanuel Choice, we talked about him before, recently put them officially in his top 10, which is nice. 2025 4-star wide receiver CJ Wiley has us in the top 10. And the big-time 5-star defensive lineman Elijah Griffin put out a top 12, which had USC and also Duke make the cut as well, which is pretty cool. So if they make another cut, if he cuts it in half again, like a top 6 or maybe a top 5, and it has both Duke and USC in there, that's obviously pretty cool to have both my teams fight for a guy that's very talented, especially this guy who is a 5-star defensive lineman. So he's definitely very sought out after a lot of very talented teams on that top 12 list, but hoping at least one of my teams could snag him a little bit later in this year. So there's been a lot of talk about the running back Marshawn Lloyd from USC, also the wide receivers Brendan Rice and Taj Washington. Even Jared Kingston did pretty good. Kalen Bullock was talked about a lot when he was practicing out there during the combine this last week. So yes, a lot of good positive outlook for a lot of these ex-USC players, and yes, hoping at least all of them gets drafted. Didn't hear much about Christian William Wallace, but a lot of teams do like him for his versatility. So definitely looking forward to that. Yes, an offensive lineman now ex-Dallas Cowboys left tackle and Tyron Smith. Even when he started playing with the Cowboys, I didn't even realize he was from USC, which is pretty crazy. But he has been pretty much the main guy on that left side for so long, a decade plus, and now he is officially entering free agency. And I know even a couple years ago, a lot of people thought he might have been retiring or just done with the NFL, but because of injuries. But it looks like he's healthy enough to go and looking to test free agency. And you never know if he's willing to move over to the right tackle spot. It would be pretty cool to have him on the Chargers. But if not, then good luck to him elsewhere. Just don't go to the other AFC division rivals of the Chargers. And then speaking of Johnny Manziel, we did recently that he was hoping that Reggie Bush would get back his Heisman Trophy at some point because he does deserve it, and even went as far as to recently say now that he's willing to boycott any Heisman ceremony because a lot of the ex-winners go to that main Heisman ceremony and basically congratulate in person the new guy after they voted. But he says he will boycott that, even doing some other stuff to promote Heisman stuff around the country throughout the year, which is pretty cool. It's pretty big and bold of him to do that, to step up that much. Even a ex-linebacker, I think recently played with the Tennessee Titans and has a pretty big-time podcast out there. Will Compton also recently said that he would not partake in any Heisman Trophy ceremonies. I guess they invite other players too to help build up the momentum for that showcase and all that stuff. And he said he will also stand in solidarity with Bush and Manziel and not, I guess, promote the Heisman. So we'll see. Hopefully more guys step up and say stuff as well, especially a lot of those USC guys as well. I'm talking to you, Matt Leinart and Carson Palmer. And yes, hopefully they will step up, as I said, and hoping that Reggie Bush will finally be able to show off his Heisman. And as we mentioned the other day, USC men's side were up there playing in Washington still, facing the University of Washington, and got that victory 82-75. It's just pretty crazy how up and down they are, and they have so much talent. I don't know if it's coaching or bad injuries and all that stuff, but even Duke's gone through that this year, and they're like ranked in the top 10 as well. So I don't really know what's going on out there. It was even kind of hard to celebrate Coach Andy Einfeld like moving into top 3 all time, I believe, in the wins total at USC, just because it's like they've been missing so many bad games and losing so many bad games. I think even in this one they had like a 10-point lead and eventually lost it to Washington. So not sure what's really going on, but I guess it's a victory, and like I said, they pretty much have to win the Pac-12 tournament to get into the main March Madness tournament. So we will see. In the women's, we're still in Arizona. Had to play against Arizona State. Got that victory 70-55. Juju Watkins had 26 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists. And I didn't even realize that at the time of the other game. I saw the highlights when they played against Arizona and got that double overtime victory before this one, that she fouled out like towards the end of the fourth quarter. So USC, the women's, got that victory without their main star freshman player on the road in overtime against a pretty good Arizona team. So yes, definitely very proud and happy for them. And I believe this was also their 13th conference victory, which I believe set a new record for the women's side, which is very nice and cool to see. And I think 2 of the incoming high school players, Kaylee Heckel and Kennedy Smith, were invited to the Jordan Brand Classic, which I think is another alternative for a lot of these talented high school players to play in instead of the McDonald's All-American if they don't get invited. So that's pretty cool for them. They're obviously talented enough. I don't know why they're not in the McDonald's game, but at least they got invited somewhere, and it's a pretty cool brand, Jordan, as well. So congrats to them. And a few days ago, the Anaheim Ducks did get a victory against the New Jersey Devils, 4-3, I believe. So it was a nice, close victory, but ended up losing. I think it was just today on Sunday night, 1-2 against the Vancouver Canucks. I think they're the Vancouver Canucks. But yeah, either way, still a loss, so that sucks. But we'll see how the rest of the season goes, as I just keep saying, for the Anaheim Ducks. And then ending off on some miscellaneous news. Yes, I believe just this last week, Sum 41's single Landmines, even though it came out a couple of months ago, maybe at least a month or so ago, it finally topped the charts of like some alternative song playlist chart or whatever. And it knocked off Blink-182's One More Time, which had been on there for quite a while. It almost was about to break a record, actually, for being number 1 on that list or whatever it was. But yeah, sadly, another one of my bands ended up dropping them off the top spot. But either way, as long as you're having one of my bands at the top, definitely very happy and excited about that. And then to other miscellaneous news, yes, sadly, we did lose an NFL ESPN reporter and behind-the-scenes guy in Chris Mortensen earlier on today. I always remembered him during the NFL draft and breaking news here and there, even throughout the season as well. So he knew a lot of people behind the scenes and got some late-breaking stories out there. And like I said, I usually remember him during the draft with Adam Schefter as well, them teaming up for ESPN. And I know he was battling cancer and doing all that stuff the past couple of years, and I think he even stepped away from ESPN. But yes, sad to see him go. Definitely one of the brighter spots at ESPN, and you can't say that a lot nowadays. But yes, sad to see him go. And then yeah, this is last February. It was a pretty big month as far as like YouTube numbers and all that stuff. It always seems to keep getting better and better, which is nice. But yes, for February, I did have my most record views, which was nice. And I believe there was 76.3 thousand views total over that month, which is 3 times the normal, which is crazy too, because it's was a shorter month, a little bit, one more extra day, but still shorter. And then there was 1,121 likes, 72 shares, and 20 comments on all those videos. And I honestly didn't upload as much as I do, just because I've seen lately, like some of the shorts there, either they get a lot of views or they don't. I think this one LeBron video, some of his dunks or plays in the All-Star game, that has like over 10,000 views, but a lot of people do comment and talk a lot of crap on that video. It's pretty funny to read every other day when I get a comment on there, but it does have 10,000, which is pretty crazy. So yes, very thankful for that. We'll see how this goes and what else can come from it. Definitely trying to head to that 1,000 subscriber. So if you're new here, please think about it if you're interested in a lot of the topics and teams I'm into, and we'll see where this goes. Yeah, thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a great day. Bye. Fight on.